It's wild garlic season and we've got 2 new recipes for you today. This is what a decent patch of wild garlic looks like. I hope you find some. If you are unsure on what it looks like, then do check out this video appearing in the top right corner now, which shows you how to identify it and a couple of other plants that do look very similar, which can give you an upset tummy. So be sure to check that out if you're new to this. At the end of that video are a couple of wild garlic recipes. At the end of this video I will post another one that we've done which has got a few recipes on it. As you can tell, we love the stuff. Today we're going to be making potato cakes and kimchi, and we're going to start off with the potato cakes. So I'm going to whiz through what you will need for these wild garlic potato cakes. In here we have 55 grams of washed and chopped wild garlic. Added to this is going to be 670 grams of mashed potato. So you just boil and mash just white floury potatoes, no butter needed, just mash them as they are. You will also need 280 grams of flour, plain flour. We're using gluten-free because I'm gluten-free. And you will need 2 eggs. So we're just going to add the mashed potato straight into the wild garlic here. And now we're adding in 280 grams of plain flour. And now we're going to add in 2 eggs and then mix it all together. Now what we have done is we have worked out how much wild garlic we have. No, actually what we did was we worked out how much potatoes we had and then multiplied everything up or down. So they're the ratios you're going to need anyway. Rose loves these potato cakes and is hoping for them for dinner tonight. And as it's St. Patrick's Day, Dad has agreed. And hopefully we'll be able to get some more potatoes soon and able to cook some more for the freezer. Right, well, once that's all come together, get some flour on your hands. Grab a smallish ball, about a dessert spoon, heaped dessert spoon. Roll it into a ball and flatten it. Looking for about ½ centimetre, so nice and thin. And maybe a little bit thinner than that. It'll just take a little bit longer to cook, that's all. And then pop them to one side. And then once we've done that, we're going to pop them in the frying pan for about 4 to 5 minutes each side until they are browned. So as you can see, I've got a little tiny bit of oil here, ready to pop these in. I'm going to pop the others in. I've only get one more, I should think. There we go. Right, so we're going to leave those to cook 4 to 5 minutes either side until they are brown. Pop them on a plate and just keep going until all the mixture's used up. And here they are. Don't they look delicious? I don't have a video of this bit because Rose was too busy eating them. And now, if you are a kimchi fan or a fan of fermented foods, you really need to give this a go. The wild garlic and the pear just lift it and is absolutely lovely. Okay, ordinarily I would use Chinese Napa cabbage, so we're going to replace that with wild garlic today. I've got 250 grams in here and it's just roughly chopped, but I do like it crunchy, so we're going to add some ordinary white cabbage, the sort you use for English coleslaw, I just like the crunch, so we're just going to add that in. Rose is being my sous chef. Thank you, Rose. And then I have matchstick grated, a largish carrot that's going in there. Just done it on the mandolin. If you don't have a mandolin, just use an ordinary grater. But I find the matchsticks give it help it keep its crunch. We're just going to give that a little mix with your hands. Now, in order to keep the keep it crunchy, we're going to cover it with salt. So if you just sprinkle that over, this is half a cup of just ordinary table salt. Yes, it seems like an awful lot, but don't worry, we're just using this to draw out the moisture. It will be rinsed off, so don't worry. Just going to make a brine, and then we are going to cover it with water. Okay, so that is covered in water, and we are going to let this sit for about 2 hours. So we've got a convenient cover with these bowls. We're just going to leave it in the kitchen and come back. Right, now as our veggies are in the salt water, you're going to want to put 1.5 tablespoons of glutinous rice flour into a saucepan. The eagle-eyed among you will see that this is not glutinous rice flour. I am gluten-free, so this is actually almond flour that I have substituted, just in the same quantity. And to that we add half a cup of water, mix it together, and then we're just going to put that on the heat until it starts to reduce, just a medium heat. And we're also going to add to this 1 tablespoon of sugar, just ordinary white sugar will do. We're going to stir this until it thickens. So our rice paste has started to thicken up nicely, and this will continue to thicken when it's cooled down. So I'm just going to turn off the heat, leave this to cool down, and in the meantime you need to grate 1 whole pear. You also need to grate half of a small onion on the small grater, so it's just in here, this, so it goes quite pasty. Half an inch of ginger, which is here in the corner, and chop up 2 spring onions. Right, that has now cooled down. You can see it's gone quite thick, and to this I have added 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, and we are going to also add half a cup of gochugaru flakes. These are the Korean chilli flakes. Now it is quite hard for us to get hold of gochugaru locally, so in this instance, well, I've had some in the pantry that I'd gotten online. So you can see this is quite a thick paste. To this I'm going to add our pear and ginger and onion and spring onions that I showed you earlier. Give this a mix in. So there we have it all mixed together. Now we're going to move over to our vegetables that are brining. What we need to do with those is drain the water off and give everything a good rinse to make sure that the salt is off. So here we are, drained and rinsed, and to this we are going to add our rice paste with the pear and the garlic, not the garlic, the ginger. Ordinarily with kimchi you would add garlic. Sorry if I was blocking the camera there, but as this is made with wild garlic, I have not added in any extra garlic. Now we're going to get our hands in there and give it a good squelch, a good squeeze, and get this paste into all of the nooks and crannies. There we go, that's all in there. Now this is a good sized batch. Ordinarily I would put this into individual jars, but today I'm going to use a kilner jar, and you need to just use whatever you've got, you know, old jam jars, whatever you've got to hand. This is not a clean job, but you know what, it all wipes up. If you would like for me to make a video on our ordinary kimchi, I think a lot of people have slightly different recipes. I did try growing the Chinese napa cabbage once before, and it didn't take, so maybe I'll give it a go again this year, because it's not always readily available in our supermarkets where we live. And one of the most delicious things I like doing with kimchi is making pancakes, like a savoury pancake with it. Now squash this down as much as you can. I might actually make some more at a later stage and fill this up. And right now I'm just going to clean around the top of the jar and around the sides, just to make sure that the seal is going to be clean. Now that's all clean, we're just going to close this up. Now with kimchi, it's a fermented dish. Ordinarily, if you've got a jam jar and it's filled up to the top, what you need to do is stand this on the side, just in the kitchen, but put it on a plate because it will leak. Now you can see there's quite a gap here, so I won't need to put this on a plate, but when I top it up later, maybe tomorrow, I will stand it on a plate in case it leaks. And while it's fermenting, it will continue to ferment once it's on your side in the kitchen. And when you want the fermenting to stop, you can just pop it in the fridge. So I will try this after a week to see if I like the taste. It will get stronger the longer you leave it. So give it a try after a week. You can leave kimchi for as long as you like, fermenting on the side. Ordinary kimchi I tend to leave between 2 and 6 weeks, depending on how I'm feeling, how pungent I want it. But it's such a delicious, healthy food, really, really tasty. So do give it a go and let me know what you think. So that's all from us this time, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.